Hello and welcome to Talking Dogs on a Monday. Of course, once again, we are talking all things Barwon Racing Irish Laurels from Shelbourne Park. I'm joined by the exiled one. We were supposed to be joined by Barry Drake, but I hope I'm not giving away too many secrets by saying that he's currently on the side of the road with his car slightly incapacitated. No truth to the rumours whether Tommy put sugar in the petrol tank or not. Tommy, it's just the two of us, but that's the way we like it going forward. Let's get into it. The Irish Laurels continued at Curryheen on Saturday night, and it didn't disappoint. Once again, some fine performances. It's a shame Barry's not here to tell us about them, but as I said, he's facing other problems.
Yeah, he is. He is. Unfortunately, he'll get that sorted out. But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there thinking, "I wish it wasn't just those two Egypts again." But we get we get through it. Ian. It was good. It was good. But the only thing that was difficult to really ascertain Ian, on Saturday night was the track. The track changed. The conditions changed. There was a lot of wind. There was a lot of rain. There was surface water. There was everything you couldn't do anything about because of just how bad the conditions were in terms of like it wasn't horrific. It actually improved through the night in terms of overall conditions, and then deteriorated again for a couple of heats late on. So there were performances that mightn't look as big in the clock as they were on the night. So we'll go through that as we go through the heats one by one.
Yeah, once again, Ballymac Satanta set the standard. He really is developing into a pretty special greyhound. There's no question about that. His pace down the back straight for a dog who had sprinting form prior to this, he looks like a dog that does his best work between two and three. Hasn't yet scorched to the opening corner, although did show early speed to get himself into a prominent enough position. It could have been a bit squeezier now if there was a dog with a bit more early speed up his inside, but as it was, he turned close, does the fastest time of the night. But as you say, track conditions are changing through the evening. That was 28:09 at the start of proceedings, whereas you take a Drooby's Patriot at the end of proceedings, and he's doing a 28:20 odd run, 28:29, and again equally to the eye, very impressive.
Um, I can't get this. This is and again. This is again conditions and all that, and it's gonna be a little bit complicated through the night. But Ballymax is handed at 3:30 according to the sections. Solo and Go, who popped out and led, did a 3:34. I find that difficult to figure out, because if you had me if you said just to the eye, and I'm not really a clock person. I use it as a very small part of the tool, to be honest. But I know people who live by it, and they do perfectly well out of it. I prefer to use the eye and the standard greyhounds are running against to kind of decide what I think is good enough. And actually, there's something I talked about during the night. I actually had a conversation with two different people about two different heats, and it was just interesting the way I look at it compared to how they look at it. But the Ballymax Tanta dog is a real, like, I don't think it's unfair either. I think the track was running best at this stage for the
Yeah.
first couple of heats on the night. I think it was because, let's be honest about it, Ballymax Tanta got three bumps at the first bend. And how he came out in the position he came out in, I do not know. And he's a 76-pound dog, which is not a small dog. But he doesn't race like a huge dog. He doesn't look like a huge dog when he's striding. He stretches
No,
out so much. It
he's
actually nearly
he's very racy, very racy.
he nearly flattens out. He's stretching that well. He's stretching out completely. Like it's impressive to watch, actually. I know I go on about when I see a dog that's not that big, a 60-something pound dog, and I see him looking like a bigger dog. That I always like that, race like a bigger dog. But this is a big dog who races like he's nearly flat. He's stretching that hard. He's so hard to gauge in. He really is, because how do you do 28 or 9 doing what he did and getting the trouble he did at the first bend? I mean, both of those runs, the first two rounds, are 27-70 runs. No
Yeah.
questioning, no question. They're both phenomenal runs. I mean, how he came out in the position he did. I think he's gone by Faye Point Harvey. Yeah, Faye Point Harvey mightn't be a superstar, but he's a bloody good dog,
Hmm.
and he's gone by him for fun.
He
I
went.
this like
It was almost like he was stopped.
it's
You
it
know,
like I just can't. I swear to God, like, is Ballymax the time to like the fastest dog in the country or something? Because those two runs are phenomenal. Now the track is obviously in good condition at this stage, as I said, of the night. But I'm watching from an angle behind, as I'm almost at the boxes, looking down the track,
yeah.
and I'm seeing the inside, and I'm seeing him get bump, and then come out in a reasonably good position, and then accelerate down the back. You're thinking, oh, this is going to have to tell eventually, and it never tells you. He never tells. He wins by 2 lengths into the 28 or 9. It's like obviously, right, your concern is he's not breaking very well. And if so, as you said a minute ago, if there's a dog with massive early pace inside him, or not so much massive early pace, but a breaker inside him who has a bit of early pace, it's going to be a different type of struggle. But I mean, I'm just looking at the prices, the bar one prices. They're going 4-1. He's third favourite in the outright now. Is 4-1. I find it hard to gauge him. Is he? Is he? If you put them himself and solo on goal in a two dog race right now, just a two dog race, I'd back him every single time.
But a 6 out race, a different scenario.
Completely different scenario.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you make of him? I mean, he's it's not that he's amazed me. I thought in that sprint and Derby final, I went, oh, here, this is a proper greyhound now that we're looking at. And he's just a bit unlucky the way he tracked the inside at the first bend. He went to go across the first bend, got a bit of trouble. This is in the top sprint now. This
Yeah.
is serious level stuff. And I'm thinking, yeah, this dog has developed a lot. But I don't
I
know.
think
What's your take on
I
him?
think the early pace is there. A struggle. Every time I look at his card and go, God, that was only his 11th start. You seem to think he doesn't even have that many. I suppose that's the fact that he just hasn't been around Shelbourne Park as often. There's 3 or 4 runs in Limerick, racked up pretty quickly. If you'd paused at 5 yards from the line, I'd have told you that's a good run. That's going to come up at 28-40. It was a hell of a run. Fay Point Harvey's coming. He's staying. He's rallying again in the closing yards. Like he doesn't win as far as he looked like he was going to win at the third bend. He still wins though pretty comfortably by 2 lengths from Fay Point Harvey, who, in fairness to him, always does rally and keep giving his
Good
all.
dog.
But again, if it had stopped in 28-40, I'd have gone, geez, that's an encouraging run because trap four isn't his box. Like he wants the fence, there's no question about it. He needs probably to be closer to the fence, just given the way that he's given them that length at boxes. But I'll tell you what, his pace down the back straight is phenomenal. Like he does a 16:08 to the third bend. He has absolutely no right to do that. Whatever about the 28:09, the 16:08, he has no right to do that from where he was. Like coming from 2 or 3 lengths off the pace to do 16:08 is unbelievable. I don't know where his ceiling is. I don't know where he'll be best suited to. But
Yeah.
he's definitely a greyhound 550 yards on good ground next year at Shelbourne Park. You'd have to be looking at him seriously. You know, Cork is the one probably one track where he could get caught out. But at the same time, he's got his draw the next night. He gets a couple of good more. He gets another draw then the following week, and all of a sudden he's in the Laurels final. And it's going to be very hard to stop him if he gets a clear passage.
You know, that sprint and Derby final that I keep referencing. Um, was won by Stone Park Brown. Ballymac Brandon finished second, though Ballymac Stand would be at least at worst the second best dog on the night, if you ask me.
Hmm.
At worst, um, it showed that he can break. I just, you know what it is. It really is a case of close your eyes till he gets to the final. It is because you don't like. I don't want to back him at 4-1. But he obviously can win the Laurels. I put him in a two dog race with anything in the competition. Maybe Drugby's Patriot, that'd be interesting. Um, I'd nearly back him against everything. Drugby's Patriot dead heat. I can't figure it out now. But like when you go to the next heat, we'll talk about in a second. But Fay Point Ranger does 15.98 and 28.17, very much back to form. This fella's getting a pile of bumps and doing 28.09.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm reading the track wrong, it's a phenomenal effort altogether. I mean, ridiculous, out of this world effort. If I'm reading the track wrong, I think the track was fast at this stage, at its fastest in this early part of the night. Despite the fact that the conditions weren't great, now that like there was wind and rain still. It's just that the track itself had been well prepared and was running well at the start of the night. Um, I don't know. I just love watching him. I just love watching him. I wouldn't want to back him in heat, and I wouldn't be backing him at sharp prices in heats because we know what can happen. He was 4-6 the other night. I'm happy enough to let that go and just enjoy the fact that he's phenomenally fast. I mean, out of traps, the first thing the fella that was standing beside me watching the race was, well, he's out. I would think him out of traps. He's out. He's gone. He's out of the competition. I've seen
He
him
had to do
28.09.
he had to do some running to clear Moorestown Brett, in fairness to him. But once doing so, he was always in a lovely pitch. He
Yeah.
slips onto that fence, and it was like, this is where I'm supposed to be, and off he went. In second was Fay Point Harvey. Just you could set your watch by him, as we keep saying. this was a better run than the opening round effort, no question about that. From Faith Point Harvey, not just on the clock but to the eye as well. Yes, he's blown out of the water by Ballymac Satanta down the back straight, but I would suggest that could have been a similar case for 85% of the dogs that run on Saturday night, Curreen Park. And Moorestown Knight ran a big race in third, running on really, really strongly. I can just see this fella rocking up to an open 575 or open 570 on final night, or 575 in Cork, isn't it? I could see this fella rocking up at an open 575 and running a big race. He's very strong. Very, very strong, staying on really well to finish back in third spot. But Ballymac Satanta, the undoubted star of proceedings in that contest. Now on to the second heat, and you've already said it, Tom. This was a return to form for Faith Point Ranger. I would say of all the dogs that Graham Holland had running on Saturday night, this was the dog that probably gave him the most satisfaction, because he has not looked himself since winning at Limerick in the Kirby Memorial. This was this was razor sharp. This was just proper Laurels running. Broke well, showed devastating early speed. 15.98 off at 3:30. Again, I'm struggling with that. I'd have said it
He
was a
did. He did move right and get a bump. He did move right
yeah.
and hit the two dog early.
28.17. He's not stopping. Ballymac Brandon missed the kick. He was moderate enough. He showed good early speed to get second on the opening corner. Probably took a bump himself at that point. Runs well in second, but no match for Faith Point Ranger. I was quite shocked by how notably Lemon Herbie sort of moved in. He's mad for the fence. I didn't think he was as mad for the fence as he is, but he won well from Trap One last week, and you can see why. One or two people got involved last week at 3-1 from Trap One. That's where he wants to be, wearing the red jacket. But this was all about Faith Point Ranger. He's a serious Laurels player on this evidence.
He is. He is. I think. Look, maybe Trap One helped, even though he edged slightly right and got a bit of a bump early. He just is a great help. I mean, if you look at the sectional, it's three. The early section is 324, I think, is it? The
Who?
330,
Three
330.
thirty.
It's like, sorry, the previous he'd Faye Point Harvey did a 324 from track one. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't tally with his early pace in older tracks. I mean, it's quite a bit better. And I think that the box is a help now. I wouldn't. The only reason I'm saying that is play devil advocate a little bit in terms of looking at him for next week and for whether he can win the competition or not. He might need that box to do that sort of break, to get that sort of run, even despite the fact that he looks like he's probably a trap two runner early. Maybe that's what he might be. But it was like Ballymac Brandon, even though he's better than the clock, the 28:52 clock. It's kind of his run, isn't it? Would that be
It is
fair?
at the moment. I think if you give him a flying start, I'd suggest there's probably a 28. I wouldn't be surprised if he did 28:10, 28:20. Just given his age, and still, like, he's still relatively inexperienced. Like, that was his 13th run the other night. Um, yeah, like, he did 28:31 last week, and I thought there was probably a bit better to come from. I was very impressed with him.
Yeah, I wasn't bowled over, and maybe it's unfair. Maybe it's because his little brother is so good, and I've been
Yeah.
so taken by him, that I haven't been bowled over by that. Because I'm thinking, well, if you're not the best in your litter, you're probably not the best in the Laurels. It goes without saying. So, maybe I'm being a bit harsh on him a little bit, but I think I've seen where he can go. Even though he's a January 24, he's still very young. I think I've seen where he can go, where I don't know where Ballymax Atlantic can go.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Back in third there was Lemon Herbie. Again, keep an eye on him. He just might have a part to play in this second round quarter final. He's in trap two. We know where he wants to be. Ballymac Satanta's on his inside. Solo and Go is out in four. Princess Demas in three. It could get pretty tight in the inside in that heat in the quarter final. It's just worth keeping that in mind. On to heat three. It was a good weekend for Dean Harper. Before we go on, he won the Kennedy Cup down at Limerick with Ballycowan Frank, the Gamble Car Sales Kennedy Cup. Ballycowan Frank looks a hell of a good dog. Another member of this litter with Ballycowan Archie. Ballycowan Frank took it up down into the third bend, wins by 6 lengths in 28:30. He's a really, really fast, really powerful, strong greyhound. I would suggest that Dean will be making his travels up to Shelbourne Park pretty soon with him. This Ballycowan Archie is another one that could run very well at Shelbourne Park, or indeed anywhere. This was just his fourth career start, and certainly on the clock it wasn't sensational compared to some of the other runs on the card, Tommy. But for a dog with such little inexperience, or such little experience, I thought it was a very good run. He held Headley's Trump into the opening corner. Headley's Trump completely lost his place around the first two bends, and Ballycount Archie just went about it. Goes on to win by a length and a half from the staying on Bruce Bay, and back in third was for Silent Cobby. I don't think we're expecting the Laurels champion to come from this contest, but I thought it was a bright run by Ballycount Archie, and I think there's better to come.
I was fancying the dog on the card later on, and I was concerned after this heat that maybe the outside of the track, we get enough evidence that the outside of the track was difficult to run well from. Price's Romeo was, um, you know, ran okay as all he did. Silent Cobby ran okay again.
I'm
Um,
assuming Price's Romeo was 8-11 and not 8-1.
he wasn't 8 to 1 anyway.
Yeah, okay.
He I just thought missed the kick, showed a bit of pace down the back, but I thought I was worried then that maybe the outside track was a difficult place to be. And it might have affected Price's Romeo. Styling Cobby ran okay, but Ballycown actually this is a lovely run. But again, you have the advantage of the inside, and you have to use it. You have to have the ability to use it. It's still a Laurels heat, regardless of how you look at it. I think you're right. Look, I don't think we were expecting the Laurels winner to come out of it, but Ballycown Archie and Barry talked about Dean Harper. Been saying it for a few years. It's not a huge kennel. They invest well, do
Mm.
well, with select kind of greyhounds, they do very well. So no surprise to see him win the Kennedy Cup, and this is a nice little pup. It is like four runs entitled to improve plenty, 4 or 5 runs entitled to improve plenty. January 24, just like the Ballymax Atlanta and Ballymac Brandon. So yeah, can improve again, but like on the clock and everything, you'd say again now at the moment. I'm still saying that the track seems to have changed a bit, even though I wouldn't expect Ballycon
This
actually the
this
same sort
this
of
was the
times.
first this was the first contest on the night where they rated the track. Now they're only rating it 10 slow and 10 slow. Like I don't know why you bother with 10. I would suggest it was probably running a fraction slower. If the rain had started and it was starting to get a bit trickier, you could probably put a 20 to it. But again, I think we're not too concerned as regards the time. I think we both understand that
Well,
this
I
point
don't
of the
get
string is
head up about
unraveled.
it because the estimated times don't mean much to me. I
Yeah.
prefer to make my own opinion on them. So I don't get head up on them. Some people do, and some people will look at those times and only look at what the estimated time is. Yeah, the conditions were tricky, and then it was just a funny night. It was just a funny night. It could have changed from one race to the next. That's the way the wind and rain was. There was quite a strong wind at times as well.
We'll move on to Heat 4. This was won by Booze Burgess for Port Campion and Osmond Bennett. This was a thoroughly professional display, 325 off a flying start. He edged inwards early, but made every inch of the running. 16:37, 28:63. A fine display by a dog who knows what racing's about. This was his 49th career start. He'll have the half century in the third round of the Laurels, the quarterfinals. It was his 17th career success, and I believe Osmond was a very happy man, as referenced by his interview the other evening.
Yeah, and 325 section was really good run. Nothing fluky about it. I mean, people were saying at this point with Shanahy Boomer and all that. Shanahy Boomer done really well recently, really, really well. Connections won
He
and
just looks like a dog that probably just needs a little break. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Agree with you. Agree with you. 100%. I think there's nothing wrong with made to measure is a kind of a good marker. I thought it had a chance because I thought like I was going into the race wanting to take on Shanahy Boomer and I thought that maybe made to measure only the draw outside Shanahy Boomer was quite tricky. I thought that might be the one, but Booze Burgess won it with no fluke. Lovely bit of
No,
early pace and the 325. I would suggest is probably going into the bend very well too.
yeah, no question about it. Made to measure again showed loads of pace in the feet. He's third into the opening corner. He much like his brother, Glengar Silent Derby finalist. He's not blessed with massive early speed, but it's about finding your pitch around the opening two bends. He slipped around when Shanahy Boomer checked off. He went second. Showed good pace into the third bend. I have held up 3 and 4 because he's moving faster than the winner at that point. He just couldn't find a gap. That's still inexperience. I've no doubt in 3 or 4 months' time he'll probably just go around the leader. He sort of then switched wide off the last bend and he was coming at him again, but the line came in time, comfortably enough for the winner, Booze Burgess, who wins by a length, but made to measure. He's just the dog you want to be keeping an eye on. He's not the type of dog that if you have backed one of the early pacers, you don't want to see him slipping around a length behind you off the second bend because he's still dangerous. Like while he's doing an estimated 28:68, it's a 28:70 -10. There's no question this fella's the pace to do a 28:20. But it's just a case of where he's going to get that run and when he's going to get that run. And you probably go skint waiting for it. But I'll tell you something, he's in the right hands, Pat Norris. This dog will come forward, no question about it. It was only his seventh career start. And back in third was Mr. Miles. Uh, a wide seed that ran well in defeat. Albeit he's beaten 2.5, he runs well because he's given him a bit of a start. We move on to Heat 5, solo and go, Tommy. 28-25. He did come back to Magical on Fire a bit in the closing yards, but it was his immediate acceleration. It's down as fast away always led. He was quick away, but it was the first two or three strides. He just got racing so quickly. I was amazed when I saw this as a 3:34. It certainly seemed faster to me. 16:05, 28-25, and my God, he is a tight railer around Curraheen Park. Like his line around the last two bends at home were like he was saving every single millimeter. Just looks like he was made to run a Curraheen.
Yeah, I was amazed at 3:34 too, because it looked to me like he came away racing, properly racing. In fact, his acceleration is impressive. And if he's going to win the Laurels, that's what's going to have to win it for him. This is one of the ones, the interesting heats I was talking about. I was chatting to one of the owners last week, and I said, Your dog is the certainty of the weekend. I said, and he's like, Well, it has to clear Magical and Fire early. And I said, Well, if it can't clear Magical and Fire, it's not going to win Laurels, is it? And he's
Yeah.
like, Fair point. Fairness, a fair point. And I wrote it in my preview, I'm pretty sure on Saturday in the exam where I wrote a preview saying that if he doesn't win this heat, he's not going to win Laurels because you've got to take these opportunities. That's not all harsh. I mean, that's the way I think because that's the way I punt. If you know what I mean, you say this is I've got it completely wrong if this dog can't lead Magical on Fire. Magical on Fire is a really good greyhound, but not blessed with massive early pace. Actually positioned itself really well around the opening bends. And I don't think it's a big surprise to anybody who was there. Like, again, conditions were tough enough, and this 28-25 is a really, really good run. Really, really good run. If I was if I were connections, I wouldn't be thinking came back or I'd be worried about the time. It wasn't the fastest in the night. I'd be thinking I'm very happy with that. That
Oh,
three
big
thirty
time,
four to me can't be
big
right.
time.
Can't It just can't be right unless there was a wind holding the dog back or something because he came out and showed explosive early pace, which is what I want to see. Because as I said, yeah, that's what's going to win him the Laurels if he's going to win the Laurels. Because
Yeah,
if he does 3:34 on a night when the track is running well and there's no wind, no rain, nothing, he's not winning the Laurels off a 3:34. That's much better. That was to the eye. This is why I say again, I find this more important through all the years I'm going greyhound racing. To the eye, that's an awful lot better. Like you said, you saw it, I saw it. I'd say everybody else who was there saw the same thing. Clock, like I'm not suggesting that the clock is wrong because that it's electronically reading it. That's fine, but I'm saying it's not a fair reflection of what the performance was. This was this was really good,
yeah.
really really good, and
I
better
think
better than
I
people
think I
think.
think to the eye, I think to the eye, this was the one that really did pass the acid test. Like this
Oh no,
was
well,
everything you want to see from a Laurel stop.
don't go too early, but yeah.
Okay, okay, don't
This
go
is a
too
savage
early.
one.
I think you have to show in your hand there, Tommy. I'm not going all in yet.
Yeah,
We move on to heat.
I
We move
think
on to
I
heat
just looked at
six.
the. I
Huh?
think bar one. I just looked, checked the prices there. Everyone's like, "Well, bar one going? Is he favourite?" Yeah, he's still holding on to favoritism. 3-1, just about 3-1 favourite for it.
Yeah. Moving on to Heat 6, and this was won by the thoroughly likable Prince Nassim. This is a greyhound that has eked every single bit out of his talent. He is just a remarkable greyhound. He's been in, to use Damien Lonigan's parlance, he's danced every dance. He's been there in every competition. He always runs his heart out, and he's a March 22. So what is he? 3.5 years of age. And this was him at his very best yet again. Pat Guilfoyle has him singing a very sweet tune for Kim Berg, and I'm sure Kim was floating home on Saturday night. And it was all fairly straightforward for him. The makeup of the race did suit, there's no question about it, but the draw wasn't ideal. He had to do what he did, but he popped out. He had more early speed in a race where there wasn't an awful lot of early speed, and that was that. It was over after 5 strides because once this fella's in front, he's very strong. He stays further. It was mighty impressive.
It was impressive. It was over in no time. this is good to see him putting these runs together because we know he's capable of it. We've seen really, really good runs out of him in the past, particularly that run behind Bombay Pat in the heat of the Derby. But um, yeah, I don't know what to make of him in terms of looking at the Laurels over the longer, the bigger picture. Maybe I'm going to struggle with him a little bit. But this is a lovely performance. I would say at the prices, if there's a bet left in the Laurels, long odds. And if you're not keen on taking like the 3-1 Soul and Go or 130 Rupees Patriot or the fours Ballymax Tanta, 16-1 about Born to Perform looks like a smashing each way bet now. It was raised to me that she might be a bet at the start of the competition. I wasn't as sure, but I have this feeling looking at this early pace, and because of these massive early pacers, we have small little concerns about each of them. They're not breaking. Are they going to get trouble? Are they going to do this? If they don't lead, will they not qualify? Because of that, I still think there's a lot to play in this. And obviously, like as I said to one of the lads, I'd have a lot of time for his opinion. I was chatting to him again yesterday, funnily enough, and we're just saying, again, back in the shorter ones, long odds, a lot will depend on the draw come the final. That is like it is that vital. We talked already tonight about today about the trap one and how it's improved some of the sections for some of the greyhounds that have been in it. Were in it the other night. It's going to be vital come the latter stages, but it's not going to be. It will be a help obviously to Warren to perform, but it's not going to be vital. She was a terrible price to 6-4 the other night to win the heat, but she's 16-1 four places.
Yeah,
Like
I was
if you
saying that
watch where she gets,
the fact of the matter is she's a 25, 33-1 chance to win it. But when you add in the when you
yeah,
add in the each way terms,
yeah.
probably a
I,
12 to
I
1. She's probably
she's
a
not
12 to 1
she
chance to make the first four. That's the way it is.
she's she's not a 33-1 chance to win it. She's not to win. Like if you watch the heat, she's beaten 5 lengths the other night. I know the clock isn't the fastest 28-42,
She
but like
gets
she's
badly
losing
squeezed. She gets badly squeezed
five or
across.
six or 7 lengths. She's
Yeah,
losing
now
plenty.
now it actually probably does work in her favor a bit because she is the type of bitch you don't want to see her flashing out and then
Mm,
arriving around her on the opening corner because then she can find herself 12 behind after traffic. Whereas if she misses the cake or finds a little bit of traffic early, it leaves her in that lovely sort of sweet spot right in behind dogs, and she's cute enough at this stage in her career to slip around, and that's what she did. She slipped around third, and she comfortably picks up Kilgraney North to go second. She's only beaten 5 lengths behind a dog who is doing an estimated 28-22, and we know how strong he is on the bunny. Like it's a big run by Born to Perform, and all evidence would suggest that she's absolutely in the peak of her form at present. Like that run in Derby final night
she
was just unbelievable. Last week she was very impressive behind Ballymax Satanta, and again she runs a hell of a race the other evening despite those early traffic problems. I agree with you. She was the obvious standout one that you're looking at. Is there something there that I can back each way, and I have a strong chance of getting my money back and a bit, and you never know what might happen as regards the win part.
in the conditions we have at the moment, team, like the conditions the other night were tough, and they're going to leave a little bit of a mark, obviously. And who's to say the conditions won't be similar this week? We're at the time of year where it can be quite volatile.
Mm.
She stays 750. She's a strong running lady. She's in the form of her life. I just think the 16s each way. If you want an interest in it, if they, like I'm not encouraging a big bet on it, but if you want an interest in the Laurels long odds, if you haven't had it or if what you backed has already gone out or whatever else, 16-1 is a nice little bet each way.
Yeah. It's funny, like she beaten 5 lengths by Prince and Scene, but if they were both at 16-1, like she's the only option because the manner
Yeah,
in which he's going to be trying to win his races, it's probably not going to
yeah,
be visible as it gets hotter.
this is vital thinking as well, Ian. He's going to have to be in the heat of the early battles, and he's not going to. That's why I said I don't know where I stand with him longer. If he's in the heat of the battle, solo and go earlier with Troopy's Patriot or Ballymax Tanta or even maybe Brandon. You know what I mean? He's going to have to win that battle, and that's going to be a difficult battle for him to win. But she can pick up pieces behind. She can pick her way through. So yeah, exactly. It's yeah. If they were the same price, you definitely go with Born to Perform. I think that's what she is. And actually, what is Prince Nassim? He's only 14.
Yeah. Kilgraney
That's
North was back in third. Tommy Buggy always, always. Like anytime he enters one, he seems to get them through to the second, third, fourth rounds of these competitions. And while this dog is never, I think his last success was in A3 company. Like he's still there pitching away. If he comes out of this competition tomorrow, he's in an A1. But he just again, just Tommy gets them just rolling, and he's still so young and still inexperienced. Who's to say he can't
you
improve?
know.
For he's going to need to improve pretty sharpish now, or he's going to he's going to be making an exit very quickly.
If and you know what, Ian, this is one of those heats like this is like the Derby final, the English Derby final, where I couldn't believe that Cheap Sandwiches wasn't second. Never mind, whatever fourth was it. But, I watched the heat. I went, oh, I think Trubby's flying it up the line for third. It's only now I'm realizing he finished fifth. Yeah, so don't
We
ask
had
me
two
about
short
photo
heads,
finishes in
yeah, yeah.
Curling
Two
Park.
short heads, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't
I
like
thought I no, I knew he hadn't qualified him the other night, all right, but I
yeah,
didn't think he was fifth. It
yeah.
was that type of rush to the line. The other medal just didn't happen,
No, it didn't
unfortunately.
happen. Didn't happen for Bucked on the opening.
Promising young bitch.
We move on to Heat 7, and this was one of those races where, yes, you had a couple of the younger guns, dogs with early speed, Magical Keith and Sirius Alpha, who were going to attract their level of support. But when it comes down to it, the makeup of the race, albeit with slight concerns for the outside of the track, Lemon Joey just showed that like this is classic racing. This is what you need to do. Popped out and basically showed the young bucks this is how you go about it. And it was all very, very comfortable. Blast off Heffo actually runs very hard into the opening corner, turn second, and I written down on my card, ran hard. And that's what he did. But when Lemon Joey's on the bunny, you're not going to be picking him up. Obviously, a produce stakes champion and a dog who's been keeping a very consistent level of form over the last 6 months or so. Just mighty impressive. Murtlahi winning, beating Blast Off Heffo for Philip Buckley, and back in third was three Highview Ben, who showed loads of pace down the back straight.
Did you? This is one of the bets of the night, as far as I was concerned. I spent the week trying to get somebody to get me on the dog, and you can't have a bet. Paddy Power priced up the heats early. You can't have a bet in the shops. You have to go online.
Mm.
Um, Boyles and, as far as I'm concerned, Boyles and Barrow didn't price the heats.
They didn't.
Couldn't get a bet.
They will now, you'd imagine, quarterfinals onwards, they tend to price the heats.
Yeah, it was frustrating. I was trying to get the 3-1 all week and I couldn't get it. Told the fella, this is another one heat I want to talk about just the way of thinking. It's kind of similar to what I said earlier on, but I was chatting to a fella. I said, look, Lemon Joey wins tonight. I said you could back it without, but I said I fancy this tonight. This is different. I said even if Sirius Alpha gets away in front, it might even help because it'll give them a target. What I said was, if Sirius Alpha leads them 4 lengths out of the second bend, Lemon Joey wins the race. That's the way I thought it's
He,
as
he,
a
he
phrase
was
I've used a million times.
assured he was assured a solo on the outside of the park. Simple as that.
Lemon Joey has been senior hurling. That's
Yeah, yeah.
and we're in classic territory as you talked about there. So he just needed to break, and there was a concern about the outside of the track. There was a couple of little green shoots of hope recovery there that maybe an outside could go well. I didn't expect Lemon Joey to lead, but anyway, what I was saying about it was when I said it. One of the men I said it to said, he said, "Oh, what about you'd have to clear 5 early?" And I said, we have to
That
talk
was
about the
always
same
going to happen.
grade. We have to talk about like it doesn't matter that like her Rocco was flew home the previous night. This is like if you want to start advancing in classics, you've got to be able to beat these type of dogs early. I mean, Lemon Joey has to be able to beat them. I mean, that's I said if he doesn't clear 5 quickly, I have no idea what I'm talking about, and this dog is no good. And I know that Lemon Joey is a good dog, so you kind of it doesn't matter what the clock is saying to me. I don't give a damn. Just look at the form, of the dogs and what they've been up against in the past, and read that more than you read the clocks. Clocks are entirely deceiving. But anyway, serious health it didn't happen for him. So I didn't. I actually said yesterday because I hadn't got a chance. I was at a bad angle from where I was standing watching the heat, right? And Lemon Joy popped out and led all the way. And once he popped out, I just turned to him and I said, the one of the lads I had advised him back, and I said, look, this is over. Forget about it now. And even though Blast Off Heifer was a strong runner, turned second. I said, this is over, forget about it. But I actually thought, and I said it to somebody yesterday because I hadn't seen the replays of the heat till last night. Um, I thought maybe some dogs would charge traps or something
Mm,
because, like, Lemon Joey can break, obviously, but Blast Off Heifer to turn second, and but not just that, but that they were clear of the remainder. And I thought
yeah.
something must have happened. I watched the replays, can't see it unless there was barking, unless there was there was rain, had the wind had changed and the rain was going into the front of the traps. I don't think it was. I think it was coming down the stand, coming down the straight. It was pushing them down the straight most of the night. Um, so I like I can't figure out why Sirius Alpha missed it so badly. Hivey Ben can break better than he did. He's normally an
Mm.
early pacer who mightn't be powerful. He ran a fine race, but this was over early. And Blast Off Heifer ran a cracking race in defeat. But Lemon Joey, I'd say he's been there against the best. He's been there and he lined up beside them and run well. And this was just an opportunity. I said to you, he was 3-1. He was 2-1 on track um, on the night, and that's even that. I think he should have been favoured. I
Yeah.
think Magical Keith as well. I mean, Magical Keith hadn't impressed me the previous week. That he moved off in trap one and time wasn't great, and there was nothing about it that kind of went, oh, that's a really good performance. And I don't think Magical Keith is up there with the very best of Packard Files dogs. He's got plenty of good ones at the moment, and I don't think he's at that level.
Yeah, he's nice, Doc. He's a September 23. He's going the right way, but I agree with you. I don't want him in one. I want him in three every night of the week, Magic Keith. And I think if he is in three, he plays a much more prominent role in the early stages. As it is, Lemon Joey's going to be outgunning him from the third bend anyway. So as it was, Lemon Joey after the start, it was game over, ball burst, and he's going to have that draw. You'd imagine going forward. There weren't too many seeded
It's
dogs in
not a,
the
it's not a
in the
brilliant draw
draw
now.
comes
Let's
in
be
ring.
honest about it.
Hmm?
And if he could get trap four, you'd be quite happy. But
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
a,
But he's run.
he's a
He's
middle
run as
seed.
an inside seed as well. So like it's
He's a middle seed in this, I think, is he?
hmm? He's a middle
He's a
seed.
middle seed.
Yeah, middle seed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a middle seed. Yeah.
yeah. Right. On to heat eight, the last of the heats, and yeah, I think Tommy's already showed his hand a little bit in this one. Droopy's Patriot, 16-13 off at 3:31, 28-29, and by this stage it really was pretty bloody miserable. It had to be said. Like there was a lot of water on the track. Droopy's Patriot made light work of it. I think the most pleasing and impressive part of it was, Tommy, that this was the second run in the stake. It was two
Yes.
back to back. And given the issues he's had before, I would imagine that Robert Gleason was absolutely chuffed to bits with this run. It was it was nothing but ruthless. It was relentless. It was just absolutely class.
Like he's running to the first bend. Ian was fantastic. Like the two broke in front of him, and Milridge Nadia broke in front of him unanimously or didn't fly out.
Yeah,
Fine. But what Drew's Patriot did into the bend? I mean, I always say, like if you could see the clock into the bend, and some people do those sections and all that sort of stuff. I don't think I need to see it if you know what I mean. But like,
yeah,
I'm pretty certain it was absolutely power packed into the bend. The track was at its worst here. At its worst here, no question. The wind picked up and the whole lot for this, and this was in bad conditions. Yeah, they rated 20 slow. They rated a couple more than 20 slow and whatever. But this is a sub 28-second run, absolutely unquestionably. A bit like Ballymaster Tanta, who his was more down to the fact that he got a bit of trouble and missed a kick early. This is a savage effort, absolutely savage effort. And like you, I'm delighted to see it back to back. You have to doubt it, and I have no problem with people saying, before the first round, I would have been willing to take him on in the first round because you want to see him back to his best. If you're going to be a punter or a layer or whatever, you got to form an opinion and always let the greyhound prove it to you. Don't ever be forgiving of everything, and from a punting perspective. You forgive them if you own them or you're just supporting them there. But if you're punting, don't forgive and don't forget. So it's just brilliant to see a dog because after the first round, you and I were going, first round of the Derby, you and I were going, my God, on that performance, that dog could win the Derby.
yeah.
And, it obviously didn't happen and whatever. He went out with a whimper in the second round. Um, he was backing up at 27.99. You know, even looking at the first round, you're thinking, did he just go too hard too soon? I mean, is it going to affect him over the course of five runs or whatever else? Do you know what the real beauty is, though? The best thing about this, we get to see him against Solo and Go next week.
No, no, yeah.
this, this
Here we
I'm pretty sure I haven't got the
No,
heat
no,
of
it's
I
not
haven't.
Solo and Go. No, no, no.
Oh, is it not?
Satanta's taking
Oh,
on Solo and Go.
Satanta's not Solo and Go. Sorry, no,
Yeah,
no, we don't.
yeah.
We're saving
No,
that a
he's
little.
had a pretty kind draw now, it has to be said, Droopy's Patriot. Like he is in three. I wouldn't be too concerned by that. Fay Point
No, I
Heart,
don't mind that. I don't
Charlesburg,
mind that.
I'd suspect he'll be way too sharp for
It's
his rivals next week.
he's going to be short, and I won't be backing him short. I won't be backing him in a short price.
Yeah,
He's going
yeah.
to be quite short in that heat. But actually, Southampton and Solon go. That's going to be a cracking heat. Uh, I
Unanimously, it didn't happen for him early. He sort of got a bit squeezed at traps, got a bump as well, but charged up into that opening corner, sort of made his own bit of luck to go second. I thought, listen, he's beaten a long way. He's beaten 7.5 lengths, but we know
yeah
how fast he can be into the opening corner. So I wouldn't just go completely dismissing his claims.
I no, he's dangerous in any heat because we know he can break it a lot better than he did the other night. He's going to have to step up to win a Laurels. I think after the other night, I think he can't.
Yeah.
Um, I think he can't. I think he can develop into a proper grade for next year. But I think the sharpness, it's going to be too much too soon to win a Laurels now. I think. I
He's
do
trapped.
fear that.
He'll have trap six to contend with next week. But often, as you said, if six inside seeds, sometimes is the best place to be, especially with Ballymac Brandon probably likely cut inwards from trap five.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about that. It's not a deep heat that he's in,
Yeah.
but I'm still a bit worried about it. But you know what, I could come out of the week after doing a bit of study and looking at it a bit, thinking that maybe he's a bet on the night. I'm not sure yet though. I'm gonna have to see what he's good enough. He seems to be able to break. He broke very well from the previously out of five, so
It
maybe
is
six won't
pretty.
be
It
an
is
issue.
worth taking a point that Trina's tribe in this contest did go straight in on him from trap four. Going forward, Trina's tribe next week is in trap three with Fate Point Ranger on her immediate or on his immediate inside. You'd suspect that Fate Point Ranger will be sharp enough to avoid it, but just if he did happen to miss the kick a beat, Trina's tribe definitely wants the fence.
Oh, yeah,
Big
the
time.
harder than either of the grounds left in the competition, I would say. Definitely. First thought is let's get in there on the rails.
There's a
So
couple of
and
others now.
now
I wouldn't. I think Lemon Herbie and Solo and Go might have something to say about that.
no, I think Lemon Herbie's not quite as bad as you think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Not quite as bad as that. No, I did Trina Tribe definitely ahead of it. Um, I think Solo and Go wants it, but does it more gradually.
yeah.
Is aiming for it, but not. It's some dogs. It's the primary focus is to get out and get like go left.
Let's
I
take a
think
brief
Trina's
look at
Tribe is
these.
that.
Let's take a brief look at these quarterfinals. Again, Droopy's Patriot. Just a perfect way to finish off the night. The bookends. Ballymac Satanta does 28.09 and Droopy's Patriot does an estimated 28.09. It was a lovely way to round off proceedings. All in all, a thoroughly enjoyable night's racing, Tommy, and some fine displays from start to finish. Again, highlighting that there's still a lot of quality, a lot of depth left to this competition. Not too many of the bigger guns went out. And as it gets concentrated more and more and more, we've seen it to a point in the quarterfinals. But if the big guns go through, semi-finals and final is not going to be an inch.
Yeah, and I think they will. I think looking at the heats, they've probably been spread out with the exception of Ballymax
They
and,
have been
and
relatively
Solo and
spread
Go.
out. Yeah, no question.
Yeah, they're quite well spread.
Let's look at that opening heat. Fay Point Harvey's in one made to measure. Droopy's Patriot in three. Born to perform Ballycon Archie Moorestown Night. Ballymac Patriot will be. He was 2-5 to win the other night. He may not be 2-5, but I'm not sure I'd be laying two on. To be honest, Tommy, he could well be 2-5.
Um, he's different grade.
Yeah.
He's different grade. I mean, you can't, he has to underperform to not win that, and I'm really hoping that doesn't happen. He did a 328 out of trap four, even though he did 331 the other night. It's probably better because again conditions were at their worst at that time. He's can he do it five? Can he do it 5 weeks in a row? Kind of hope so because it'll be some final if he does. If he's in there, and we have a
He
few of the
did it in
others.
Dundalk. That's worth keeping in mind. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Moving on to Heat 2, and this is the hot one. Ballymac Satantas in 1, Lemon Herbie 2, Prince Nassim 3, Solo and Go 4, Highview Ben and Master or Mr. Miles. Highview Ben, Mr. Miles will be double figure prices. Prince Nassim will be a big price despite impressing the other night. Lemon Herbie will be a big price. It'll be all about the Liam Dowling trained pair, you'd imagine, in the betting. Ballymac Satanta won't have to worry himself about getting to the fence. He's already there. That could make the difference, but it'll be very interesting to see if Solo and Go get off the front, just how much is in it between them. This could turn into a cracking contest.
This could run into a cracker. I just hope that they don't meet at the bend at the same time because
Mm.
Ballymac Satanta, like Solon Go would be explosive in the first 25 yards. Ballymac Satanta will be explosive into and around the opening bends. He ran an exceptional bend in the first round to pace he was going to be able to stay as tight as he did for a big dog. He's remarkably agile. Ballymax Atlanta. It's I was thinking, sorry, that it was Patriot was in one instead of Ballymax Atlanta and taking on Solo and Go. That would have been some heat. This is what way do you go in this team? Like, you think you probably think a lot the same as I did. A Solo
Well,
and Go probably.
I honestly, I'd probably be evens 10 to 11 and like 10 bar. I would be like, and Mr. Miles could be like he won't be on track, but he could certainly be off track if they're betting to 119%. He could be 33-40 to 1. Highview Ben could be 25 to 1, 33 to 1. Prince Nassim could be double figure odds. Lemon Herbie could be double figure odds. But then you're also depending on two dogs that are, they're pretty sharp. If they make mistakes, strange things can happen. But no, I'd be very short the pair, and bookmakers do like to make a favourite, and I think if they're going to make a favourite, they will make Ballymac Satanta favourite because of the draw. That's not to say that he should be favourite. Okay,
I
I
don't
just
think they.
think
I
they
don't
will
think they
make.
will. I don't think they will make Santana favourite.
Yeah, I know Solon goes favourite to win the stake. I wouldn't be surprised if Satanta, let's say,
There's
wins
nothing. There's nothing. There's
11
nothing in
to,
it.
11 to 10 to top, 5 to 4 to 4, and double figure odds. The
As
rest.
a late publican, we used to know in Roscommon, you say there's nothing in it but friendship. Like there really is, like on the outright betting. Like it's yeah, like this is Greyhound racing at a typical Greyhound racing, whereas there's so little between them in the long odds book. Everything's down to draw, and you're saying because of the draw on Saturday night, Ballymax and Tantle will probably be favourite. Yeah, I think more because of who owns Solo and Go, and that he has been backed. He was back from 14s to 7s before the start of the
Mm.
competition and things like that for reasons like that. And I think there's a bit of a feel good behind Solo and Go.
Mm.
Um, sometimes that sometimes that works in favour for the likes of you and I, and punters who are thinking purely Coley all the time. That works in favour. That that it's a bit like, I'll tell you where it works out. It works really well in Curraheen, not in this instance, but in terms of if you have a local dog like Sirius Alpha the other night. There's a cohort who have backed him so many times over the last number of weeks
Yeah,
and have won money off him. The bookies know they're going to lay him at a certain price that you and I wouldn't dream of backing the dog at.
yeah.
Do you know what I
I
mean? So so so,
I
so
go as
just
far as saying I hadn't even taken into account the bias, and I'm not talking about the bias in terms of a track bias. I'm talking in terms of the bias, a pricing bias. Trap one, it's like it's worth a half point, a point to certain dogs.
oh
So when
yeah,
it's tight as this, they'll have to go Ballymac Satanta favourite. Now again, that
and
doesn't
I
necessarily
still think they won't.
deserve a favourite. You
I
still
think I
think
think they
Foreign
won't.
favourite,
I think they won't go favour on Saturday night, but he might be favour with the bookmakers because they're colder during the week.
right?
I think
Or Laurels final night. We'll have a pint on it. I'll go Satanta, you so Sol and go. Who starts favourite?
who goes off favour on Saturday night. Who's returned favourite on the ITB
Yeah,
GRI
see,
website.
that's an important factor
What?
because he could well be introduced. It could be well introduced to second favorite solo and go would go off favorite. I'll go with the SP favorite, right? SP favorite, right? Okay,
on
we're moving
on
on.
on the
We're moving
GRI
on,
website.
right?
Yeah.
We're
On the
moving on.
GRI website. Sure, come here. You never buy around anyway, so it's not costing me anything.
We're moving on. We're moving on. Listen, I'll buy you a pint, especially when I'm getting free accommodation. Right, we're moving on to Heat 3. Fate Point Ranger is going to be short. After last week's run, he has to be very short. Trina's Tribe is a slight concern in the early yards, no question about it. Ballymac Brandon unanimously just are drawn that bit far out to really worry Fate Point Ranger in the early stages off a level start. You'd suspect that Fate Point Ranger will emerge a comfortable winner once again, Tommy. It'd be interesting to see how the bottom two handle the draw. I suspect the big three may well go round first, second, and third.
They probably will, yeah. And you know what? Even though I'm going to have to do a bit of work on this one on unanimous Leo out of trap six and what he might do and how much Ballymac Brandon will win from five. But I think,
He ran very well from trap five in the opening round against Ruby's
yeah,
Patriot.
he did. He did. He broke really well and ran a cracking race. And might well have led, and if you swap the traps, he might well have led Ruby's Patriot, which would be savage stuff. I think he'll get away with it regardless in this heat. I don't think there's enough depth in it. I think the three at the top of the market stand out far too much,
Yeah.
to be a concern.
We'll move on to the last of the four heats, and it's the how would you say it? They're all very talented, but there's no real superstar in here. They're all just good greyhounds that are all capable of running very, very well. It's Lemon Joey's there, of course, the classic winner. He's out in trap six, so I missed him. And with Booze Burgess edging straight inwards, you'd imagine Lemon Joey will probably start favourite. Magical on Fire will certainly attract plenty of attention. Blast Off Heffo's entitled run well. Silent Cobby tends to do his best running down the back. Drive on Petsy tends to do her best run late. Booze Burgess, it's just going to be it's a tough ask to expect him to lead from trap five, but there's not an abundance of early speed in his inside, so he could potentially go round in front. But Lemon Joey will be bang up there, and you suspect he'll be very hard to beat.
Yeah, maybe you were in fear there of insulting connections and falling out with them. That's normally my job. Um, yeah, yeah. Bruce Burgess is an issue to Lemon Joey. I wasn't wildly impressed by the way Lemon Joey ran the first bend in round one, and obviously he didn't have to run it in round two because he was on his own. He didn't have to do anything. I just thought he kind of intended in a bit too much for my liking. And the first round, I just thought that his class would get him through the other night in a race that was going to suit, be run to suit. He obviously has a chance, but like clearing Booze Burgess early is key. Booze Burgess has decent sectionals from out there. He's probably look he's a class act. He might get away with it, but Magical on Fire is a real danger. Magical on Fire can do better than 344. I mean, I'm not expecting 320, but has a 330 on the card, albeit in the mini open. Um, yes, Magical on Fire, Lemon Joey is one of the two. Think. I don't think Silent. I think Silent Cobby is better than he's been shown in the two rounds of Laurels so far.
He's loads of
But
foot. Just a case of he has to find himself a pitch. That's
yeah,
his
yeah.
issue.
Look, I don't think I'm ready to back him. If you know what I
Yeah,
mean, I don't think he's ready to explode into life yet. But I think there's a lot better to come from Silent Cobby down the line. Blast Off Heifer ran a superb race behind Lemmy Joe the other night. But will
yeah.
he clear Magical on Fire early? I doubt it.
Uh, a wonderful laurels, as we said, it's getting better. It's getting more and more concentrated. If it was a good sauce, like it's been reduced now down about, just
Yeah.
that little bit, another little bit, and all of a sudden it's going to be really, really, really flavorsome. And that's where we're coming with this laurels. It's just coming to a boil, lovely. Again, I don't think the market's particularly wrong, Tommy. I think they have the right three dogs on top of it, and depending what kennel you're in or where your loyalties lie,
Like,
you can make an argument that they should be switched around a bit. But by the by, it's the right three at the top of the market.
it's the right tree at the top of the market. I was looking through Barron's prices and like yeah, it's the right tree top of the market. 5 point range or 7 to 1. That's probably a tiny bit too short. Magic on Fire 8 to 1. That's very short.
Hmm.
Very, very short. Ballymac 14
Is that potentially down to liabilities? I wonder.
I wouldn't think so. Magic on Fire. I wouldn't think so.
You never know. You never people take.
Ballymac is short enough for 14s. Prince Nassim 14 is a little bit short. Unanimous Leo 16s around about right. Board Perform each way definitely value of 16s. It's the only one I could take out there that I might think was the bit of value. Yeah, Board Perform each way.
Yeah, great laurels. Of course, it all comes to a conclusion on the 8th of November. We look forward to it. We'll rejoin that next week. Tommy, we'll briefly take a quick trip to Shelbourne Park on Saturday night. Some cracking racing. We spoke last week. You said it yourself. You said I wasn't sure if Liam Dowling had much about him, and all of a sudden, where he
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
2 out of 3 in the laurels, and he had a treble in the Paddy Merriman Memorial. It's an A1 competition, but these aren't A1 dogs. Ballymac Altabel, Ballymac
Alcabel,
Fiddler,
yeah.
Ballymac Arminta. He's a May 24 whelp, Tommy, and he looked like a nice dog, nice strong running dog in his previous starts at Tralee and his first race at Shelbourne Park in the opening round of this competition. And the other night, he does a 204 from a 230 the previous week. He takes it up down sort of into the third bend and wins by 7 in 28:15. If this dog doesn't turn into a star, I'll be amazed. This fella has a monstrous engine. He looks a hell of a prospect. Ballymac Gloria was very impressive in the next T 28:26. And then 15 minutes later, I'm not cynical. A litter brother. to a little sister, should I say, to Ballymac Altabel wins in 28:41 from the front. So all of a sudden, Liam Dowling has a kennel of dogs that are all capable of running in top class competition. But as impressive as Gloria was, Ballymac Altabel looks a serious, serious prospect. If you haven't watched it, look
Yeah,
back.
I was watching this on Saturday night in Curry, watching these races and going that Altabel. I was like, wow. And
Yeah.
but like, if he was going to spend some time in the wilderness, lean down, he didn't wait too long out there. He got lonely or something because that
He
was a
went.
very
He went
short
out
period.
camping. He went out camping for a week and only stayed for a couple of days. And said, "Ah, to hell with this," and
He
gone.
remembered he'd forgot his tent and decided to come back
I'm not sure.
because
I'm not sure he left the jeep or the car.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a very
It,
short
it's
spell, all right.
it's
But
what they
like,
call
but
it. It
Altabel. Look, I'm just looking at section 204. I couldn't believe that. Then I watched the replay of the heat there now, and the 204. You go, yeah, actually, it was close there, but then he kind of lost a little bit of momentum slash ground into the first bend, and then like down the back just took off. I mean, it's a savage performance. One to follow, and obviously there's a bit of sharpness in him. Just wonder, does he ever going to go to the bend? That's the only thing now. That's the thing I'll be looking for him to show me that he can go into the bend.
Yeah,
That's
he
and
he's a
that'll
monstrous
finish
pace,
him off as a
and
top dog.
the rate of progression is what's really impressive, Tommy. It's the fact that he's doing this run now.
Mm.
Having looked, good to this point, but like, still quite green, and Penny hadn't sort of fully dropped and whatnot, and all of a sudden, this run came out of nowhere. It's a bitch. Ballymacaltabel's a bitch. Excuse me. God, he runs 61 pounds. I thought it was if you told me he was a 78-pound dog, I'd have said, yeah. Altabel's a bitch. Wow. Wow. Wow.
She's she
Okay.
if she can go into the bending, that's the only thing I'm looking for. That's the only thing from the line into the bend, and that's only because I'm looking for the what will finish her off as being like utterly out of
Yeah.
the very top drawer.
Oh no, I think she's there. We'll move on to the semi-finals of Yvonne Barry Track Bookmaker Open 600. And Tommy, we've said it countless times. The 600-yard trip is criminally underused. The greatest trip, the greatest test of a racing greyhound on the planet, and two semi-finals. Hussein Pickles, look and let, buckles up the line, half length. Balnabula Joe and Deladdy Da, short head. Born a show coming from out of the clouds to finish 2 lengths behind them. Big Jim in the opening heat running a big race to grab third spot. It was just everything we love about 600-yard racing.
It really was. Hussein Pickles is such a likable bitch. She's powerful and look at Leper and a cracking race. And there's so many times listen to the commentary while I was watching thinking is just doing enough.
I know,
But
I like
that is just
it's it,
unforgiving.
it was obvious into the bend that she was going to win. And you don't want to declare it through the race because look at Lep is running his heart out. That's 3 nights in a row. He's run his heart out over the 600-yard trip and been picked up. You think he's been beaten a half length, and a short head or something like that. Like he's running his heart out. But Hussein Pickles, like despite running wide, one of the lads on X described it as doing a droopy Agassi off the final turn. But once she straightened up, there was no real doubt that she wouldn't get there, and she absolutely hammered home. She wins by a half length in 32:47, but she's capable of doing 3 or 4 lengths faster. She's just so remarkably fast and consistent. Now that she's really returned to her best after that layoff, I know she has 3 lengths to find on clocks from the other semi final, but if she's not disputing favoritism, I'll be mighty surprised.
Yeah, but I've watched enough 600 competitions over the years to find out that sometimes it gets so tight come a final. The dog that can get out in front is the one that wins it. And even though it's
Yeah.
600, it's a tough. Like, look at Lep is still involved in this.
Big time, big time. Ballant Bula Jim back in third. Great to see him running so well for such a long way. Yes, he's beaten 4 lengths, but I don't think that gives an accurate description of how well he ran. It didn't happen for Dashing Toro, missed the kick. In contrast to last week, Ballyhooly Bruno took a tumble, but was on his feet afterwards. Hope that all's well with Ballyhooly Bruno. And we move on to the second semi final, and Trap 5 was a non runner in this contest. Jeez, I don't even have the card to hand, do I? For the love of God. Um, oh yeah, Rallying Mac, who had so impressed the previous 2 weeks, was a non-runner from Trap 5, as it was Balnabola Joe. He really does relish this longer run to the corner. Didn't take a flyer, but showed great speed to get into the opening bend, clearing those on his inside. Da la di da. again runs his heart out. I thought he was going to get there, I have to be honest. And on the line, I'm not sure if I did think he was up. It's hard to, it's nearly too close to you. It's right down underneath my nose, the 600-yard line. But beating the shortest of short heads. But Borna Show ran a remarkable race back in third spot. I'd be amazed if this fellow's not back over six bends very soon.
Um, Tough as teak, the laddie da. Merciful hour. The previous week, I thought, you know what? Yeah, 600 is probably a bit much now for this dog, this stage of his career. And then I thought, watching the race, going, yeah, well, the laddie da's going to fade away now. Something's going to come behind and pick it up. And then he just took off again, going to the line. I hadn't a clue out of one. It was that tight. I hadn't a clue out of one, and I. It was a while before I found out. Somebody asked me. I thought might have got up. He's just as tough as teak. My God, that dog does not want to give in. He is teak. Ballinball Joe, it's a great race. It's a brilliant race because it has everything. It has the Borna show. We talked about the Borna again. It wasn't an insult. It's just I have this memory down for years. The Borna has been power packed greyhounds. Borna show definitely is all of that. But like I was just looking at the prices there. Outright Ballinball Joe, I think is 6-4 to win it. It's still wide open. I wouldn't like to be taking the short price. These are good dogs. These are proper greyhounds.
You're also in a situation where the 600 can take a little bit out of them. Ballinbola
Oh, I
Joe
think so.
wouldn't be the one you'd have said was had the constitution to go 3 rounds of 600 yards. Now he could well and truly prove us wrong, but if any dog's going to come back from his previous 2 runs, it could potentially be him, just given his lack of experience over the trip. Like Hussein Pickles is 5-2, Deladi Da 5-2. Like I think those prices will change now when one or two of the other firms go up. But Hussein Pickles, I would have her right up there because if it's one in 32.17, she'll be banged there as well. Doesn't matter what time it's won in, she'll be banged there in contention. And it's one of those races where, Looking Lep just again has the potential to get off the bunny as well. Like if Balnabola Joe doesn't lead, I think he's a million. So just keep that in mind. Borna Show will be finishing strongly. Balnabola Jim will be the outsider party. He'll need to be at his very, very best. But it's a cracking contest and one to look forward to next Saturday night. Just a couple of other things I want to mention from Shelbourne Saturday night. The other heat of the Paddy Merriman Memorial actually went to Lansky. Lansky, son of Irman Nando, had a million dreams for young Michael Keenan, and the LTD syndicate was never too far off the pace. Magical Max just ran out of steam, was picked up in the closing yards by Lansky. A good success by him. And I thought there was two very, very impressive runs later in the card. Lemon Hidalgo, in probably the worst of the conditions, did 28-23 off the front, and he just ran clean away from his rivals. It was a mini open 5-2-5 semi-finals of that competition. He'd be very hard to beat in the final if he repeats that level of form. And the other one I want to mention is in the semi-finals of the Shelbourne Open 5-2-5 versus the Shelbourne Maidens Shootout. Well, the maiden in question was Droopy Slick. He's lost his maiden tag, winning in 28-57. We've been waiting some time for that to happen, Tommy, but it was always going to arrive. An Exclusion Order won the opening heat in very, very impressive fashion. Once again, for the second week running, winning from the outside of the track in 28-33. And again, that was in really, really dreadful, windy, wet conditions. So a hell of a run by Exclusion Order. He's certainly going places. Tommy, any other business before we
Yeah.
wrap this up?
Yeah, Friday night I wasn't there in Curraheen Park, but the Bartley Memorial took place, and we weren't disappointed. The other Ari won the Lenny's Tank, won by 14 lengths, or 9.5 lengths, sorry. And the low profile, who's third favourite in the long odds book, his first time winning a race. He's only his third ever outing. He was missed the kick, slow away, got a little bit of trouble, flew home, won by a short head. He's obviously the dog Graham Holland holds in the highest regard. But the Bartley is an absolutely fantastic competition. As I had said to somebody, I know somebody in Curry Park who was there Friday night said to me, Lenny's Tank has no chance of winning the Bartley. I'd have backed him to win the Laurels, I'll be honest about it. The dog,
I don't know who said that to you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. He's an exceptionally fast greyhound.
he's amongst the fastest in the country. And
Yeah.
maybe they're saying they're crabbing that he's not doing it here, he's not doing there. The sections, I like I looked at the sectionals here, and they confuse me. This is
Mm.
why I prefer to rely on my eye as much as anything else. Have a look at what he's doing into the bend, Lenny's Tank, and tell me it's not a better section than it reads. He is
Yeah.
absolutely motoring, leaving good dogs like for fun going into the bend. The other areas, was impressive as well, and it's just a really, really good competition,
It
brilliant
is
competition.
notable. It is notable that next year's Derby sponsors told me that they saw good support for the other Ari to win next year's Derby on the morning of the opening round starting here at Greyhound Park, while they also saw plenty of support for him to win the competition itself. Or and maybe not them, but another firm, his price was cut considerably. So clearly connections feel that the other Ari is a bit special also. He certainly looked in his previous two starts, 28.63, he won 6 lengths. I assume he can go considerably faster. I don't know what the weather conditions were like towards the end of the evening, Tommy, but I'm sure you'd be rating it better than 28.63.
Well, yeah, they must have been bad because I was out and about on Friday night, and it was pretty bad where I am now. I'm still about a half an hour, 40 minutes away from Curry Park, so I don't know what they were like there. But
Yeah.
I say there's an inconsistency in the clock that makes me think that the conditions were a bit up and down in the night as well. So like low profile as well, who's third favourite. I'm assuming that must be liabilities. And it was a 4-7 chance in this heat, and you might say, oh, 4-7 didn't do a great time, only won a short head, but phenomenal pace as well. I'd say, and a dog that you'll probably find out that in 2 or 3 runs will be breaking and showing an early pace to lead. It strikes me as that if the confidence is behind it is as strong as it is. I mean, I don't know anything about low profile. I never heard about low profile till last week till I had a look at this competition. It's only his third ever run, so
Mm.
it's a brilliant competition to run alongside the Laurels for the rest
Out
of
of
the
out of Crafty Jaco. I always remember Crafty Jaco. There had been a swap deal or something in the litter. She's priced at Boris out of JT Charlie. I think she won. She won. I was just going through her card there. She won a semi-finals with Puppy Oaks in Shelbourne Park in 28-26, beating Mary's Wedding, who went on to be a Derby finalist, and Ballymacquispa was behind her. So she was very talented herself, Crafty Jaco. So it'll be yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this low profile. Clearly, they think a lot of it. RT and C is Rachel, Timmy, and Connor, is it? Syndicate. So yeah, it- it's it's
and the,
it's home owned, shall we say? So it's clearly fairly useful. Has been shown them plenty. Good sprint trial around Kilkenny. A couple of decent trials in Kilkenny. Actually, one in Shelbourne Park. So they obviously think a bit of it.
and like all good down lines, it goes back to Martinstown Gold if you dig deep enough.
Good
it's,
field and
it's
do.
like it's like Liam Cashman, who I mentioned I think last week. He used to always talk about skipping chick,
Yeah.
um, that had to be in the line. Now to me, it's Martinstown Gold.
That's if you go back far enough, you'll find skipping chick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. About five or
Um,
six generations.
Tommy, pleasure as always. That's it. We're wrapping it up. We look forward to the Bartley and, of course, to the next round of the Barwon Racing Irish Laurels. We're down to the quarter-finals next Saturday night. And the Bartley is on the same night, Tommy.
Yeah,
Should be an
yeah.
unbelievable night's racing.
Yeah. You know what? When you don't know the grade of dogs very well, it's kind of to me, I'm kind of lost for a few races, during the Laurels and that sort of stuff. I don't know the grade of stuff in Curraheen at all. There's no point in lying about it. But adding the Bartley, I'm interested,
Yeah,
big time.
all of a sudden, bank holiday weekend and whatnot, we'd encourage people to make their way to Currahee Park, enjoy a great night's racing Saturday. Hopefully, the weather gods will be a bit kinder this weekend to those going greyhound racing. But that's it from us on this Monday. I hope Barry Drake has got his car sorted, and hopefully he'll be back next week. Hopefully, he won't be sitting at the end of at the side of the road for the next week. Tommy might go up and pick him up. Tommy, thanks very much. That's it from us on Talking Dogs on a Monday. We will see you a week from now. Check out Barry Drake's podcast on Thursday. Again, I'm sure it'll be Laurel's themed. That's if he does make it back safe and sound before then. But that's it from us. We'll see you next week. Good evening, good luck, and God bless.